Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt with OddsJam, and today's video will be a Thursday night football preview, as you can see here on my screen. First things first, the Chiefs-Chargers game tomorrow is going to be an awesome game. I'm recording this on Wednesday. The biggest news so far to talk about is just the COVID and injury news. So this game hasn't actually been wrecked a ton compared to a lot of other teams you see. As of the time of this recording, it looks like the Chargers left tackle is out with COVID, Rashawn Slater, which is a huge loss for them because he's been great this year. The Chargers also have some other players coming off of the COVID report, I believe, in Keenan Allen. They also have some injuries to their running back, Austin Eckler, but it looks like he's going to play. And then on the Chiefs side, the biggest people that are out is Josh Gordon, the wide receiver, which isn't really a huge deal. And then the main one is defensive tackle Chris Jones, who is already listed as out, at least according to what I looked at on ESPN. That's a huge loss for them. He's been a game wrecker, but you wonder how much of that is going to be minimized by the loss of the Chargers left tackle. Who's to say? So looking at the money line of this game, it looks like there is some positive. There is a situation where the OddsJam perfect line has a couple sportsbooks that have better odds than it, but obviously not if you take out the VIG. As you can see, you can get the best odds on Chiefs money line at minus 157 on BetRivers and Barstool, and the Chargers you can get at plus 145 on WinBet. For me, I'm not comfortable taking any of this money line. I do have two plays and one positive EV page play that I took from here, but it is not anything on the money line. And the one thing I should note is that the Chargers are the away team for this game. Just thinking about these two teams, it's kind of been a tale of two seasons for the Chiefs, especially on defense. At the beginning of the year, they were the worst defense in the NFL, right? They were just absolutely terrible, giving up a ton of points and just making it tough for the offense to do anything. But pretty much since that Titans game, their defense has actually been great. They've been very, very good. 17 points to the Giants, which, the Giants' offense isn't anything great. Even with Daniel Jones, that's not really saying much. 7 points to the Packers. Again, that was without Aaron Rodgers. 14 points to the Raiders. 9 to the Cowboys, which is their best performance. Granted, the Cowboys' offense has been struggling recently, but still, giving up 9 points to the Cowboys is very good. And then, again, 9 points to the Broncos and the Raiders. So, since that Titans game, they haven't given up more than 20 points. And then the weekend before, before that Titans game, they only gave up 13 to Washington. So it's kind of been the tale of two seasons, like I said, for their defense. If you look at DVOA, which is just a stat that ranks all the teams, it gives a weighted average. Let's see, their defensive DVOA was towards the end of the year. Now it looks like they're at Kansas City. I don't know why the format of it is all weird, but their defense is ranked 17th. The biggest concern that people have with the Chiefs is their offense really hasn't been the same pretty much all year, but especially recently. So they scored only 3 points against the Titans, which is not that great of a defense. 20 points against the Giants. Against the Packers in a game, like I said, Aaron Rodgers didn't play, so they have a ton of opportunities. They only scored 13 points. The two Raiders games, they scored obviously over 40 in each. But after that first Raiders game, everyone's like, oh, looks like the Chiefs' offense is back. And then the next 2 weeks, they only scored 19 and 22 against the Cowboys and the Broncos. Two good defenses, but still, we're used to seeing the Chiefs, be able to put up more points than that. And then again, against the Raiders, they put up 48. They won 48-9. It's hard for me to put too much credit into those Raiders games. I believe there was a stat. So most teams have kind of been playing too high safety against the Chiefs, saying, you know what, no matter what, we're not going to let them beat us deep. We're going to give up running plays. We're going to give up the underneath routes in hopes that either Mahomes is going to get impatient and try and chuck it, or that they'll make a mistake. A dropped ball, a penalty to get them behind the stick, stuff like that. The only team that refused to play this way was the Raiders. And obviously they scored 41 and 48 points. And these two teams played, the Chargers and the Chiefs played back in, what was this, week 3? The Chiefs scored 24 points against the Chargers defense. And if you look at the stats, I believe this was a game where the Chiefs had 3 turnovers in, they had 4 turnovers total. They only punted once. They put up a ton of yards. And I'm pretty sure that 3 of the 4 turnovers were in the red zone for the Chiefs. So they were moving the ball up and down the field and only was able to score 24 points. The Chiefs offense, like I said, they've kind of been struggling recently, so I'm not expecting them to put up a ton of points. I'm definitely not expecting them to put up the 40-burger that they put up against the Raiders twice. I would imagine that they'll score between the high teens and low 20s just based on how their offense has been performing. And then on the other side of the ball, if you want to look at the Chargers' schedule, their season has kind of been, you can kind of put it into thirds. So they started off hot, pretty much up until this this Ravens game. They started off hot, so they only lost to the Cowboys. They started off, I believe that was 4 or 5-1. 1, 2, 3, 4-1, and then they lost back-to-back games to the Ravens and Patriots. They barely beat the Eagles. They won on a last-second field goal, 27-24. Then they lost to the Vikings. They beat the Steelers in a game where they were up by 18 in the fourth quarter, and then the Steelers came screaming back in the fourth. They scored 27 points in the fourth quarter, which is just crazy. They did good on the the Chargers for being able to come back and win, but they haven't exactly been the model of consistency either. And then they put up a stinker against the Broncos and followed that by 2 blowouts, one against the Giants, which isn't saying much, but that Bengals victory was impressive. They had a huge halftime lead. They gave it up, and then they proceeded to just dominate the Bengals the rest of the way. So both of these teams is hard for me to get a read on. So the Chiefs, they're 7th in total DVOA, which is really not the past couple years they've been first. And if you want to look at the Chargers, they are 11th in DVOA. So they're, 3rd in offense and only 20th on defense. And that's especially disappointing for the Chargers because they have a defensive-minded head coach. Obviously, Justin Herbert on offense is just an absolute machine. Everyone saw that throw against the Giants. He is incredible. Their defense has kind of been disappointing. But the way they play defense is the way that you stop the Chiefs. So either way, based on how good the Chiefs' defense has been playing and based on how the Chargers are set up, I'm not expecting a ton of points in this game. So one of my plays is this under 52.5. So there's an interesting little quirk, and this is FanDuel, this one here. This column on the right here is the OddsJam perfect line. So there's a little bit positive value if you're just looking at if you're looking at it with the VIG on the under 52.5. And the interesting thing I found here on FanDuel is that they have minus 110 odds both on the under 52 and then on the under 52.5. So obviously I'm going to take the lower amount. I'm going to take 52.5, higher amount, I should say, and take the under 52.5. I'm not expecting there to be a ton of points in this game. Chiefs defense has been playing great, and even without Chris Jones, I believe that the loss, like I said, of Rashawn Slater minimizes that loss a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if this is a game that's 27-24, something like that, but I am taking the under 52.5. That's going to be my first play, as you can see on the screen here, is just on FanDuel under 52.5. But based on the point spread, there wasn't a ton of positive value there either. It looks like the Chiefs consistently up until the Chargers get to 4.5. The difference between the OddsJam perfect line and the Chiefs, where you can get positive value, is on the Chiefs all the way up until, like I said, Chargers at 4.5. So at minus a half, at minus 1, minus 1.5, 1.5, minus 2, 2.5, all that stuff. What I settled on was the Chiefs minus 2.5. So that'll be my second play, is the Chiefs minus 2.5. I decided to get buy that extra half point. So if they win by a field goal, the bet still hits and it doesn't push. And obviously the positive expected value, the difference between the OddsJam perfect line and the total that I'm getting it at, is greater at 2.5 than at 3. So that'll be my second bet. As you can see here, I placed that for $50. So two $50 bets totaling 100. Obviously, they're both positive they're positive expected value in the way if you're just looking at the OddsJam perfect line and not taking out the vig. I did find a play on the positive expected value play. It doesn't have a ton of positive expected value. It's only this. Where is it? There's only this 2.2% right here, and it actually goes. It goes in opposite of my underplay, but it's the over 27.5 first half points. So the line is actually at 23.5 or 24.5. Let me look that up real quick. So you're buying it up a little bit, and that's why it's all the way at plus 130. So I'm only putting 16 or 1.6% of my bankroll on it. So that's why I'm comfortable taking the first half alternate over while also taking the under in the game, because it could be a situation where teams come out hot and they stall in the second half. Or it doesn't hit, but if the under still hits, then I still profit. So it's a little bit of a hedge. And as of right now, this was the only positive expected value play on the page. And I didn't want to do a whole video without doing the bread and butter of the OddsJam product. So I locked that in on DraftKings, which is where it was. Let me see what the first half line is, just so I can see how many points we're buying up. So the line's at 26. So we're buying about 1.5, and we're getting that at, like I said, plus 130 on DraftKings. So the OddsJam perfect line has that at plus 117. If you remove the VIG, that only gives it a 44% chance of hitting, but we are getting it at plus 130, so it's kind of worth the low percentage chance of it hitting. Let me refresh this, see if there's anything more that I could potentially put down on. Nope, unfortunately not. There's nothing there. But I still lock that in, and I still, I like to have some positive expected value plays when I'm watching a game. But to recap on the Chiefs-Chargers preview, I am taking the Chiefs minus 2.5. I got that at minus 122 on BetRivers, or you can get it on Barstool. I chose BetRivers. I also took the under 52.5, and you can get that at minus 110 odds on FanDuel. And then the last one was the first half total over 27.5 plus 130 on DraftKings. Obviously, I showed all the bet slips as the video went on. I'll also put them in a screenshot at the very end for everybody to see. But that's all I got for you. So good luck. Let me know what you thought of the video. I always want to make sure to add that at the end. You can hit me up on Twitter at my handle below. You can also email me, Matthew@oddsjam.com. Or you can comment on the videos. I'll try to, on this video, I should say, I always try to check those as well. But like I said, that's all I got for you. So happy betting, happy watching, and good luck.